Meow, 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 meow. Let me see what I rated you. I'm just gonna hit myself in the face with the book. I have been slowly and systematically going through my home trying to get rid of excess stuff that I don't need. So naturally, something that I have a lot of that I felt like I needed to go through is my book collection. While I don't have the biggest book collection because I don't have a ton of space, I was able to weed out some books that I'm ready to depart with, which for me is a lot because I don't know about you guys, but I have like a sentimental attachment to a lot of my books. So although I don't have a ton of books here that I'm going to share with you guys as like a D-stash, I'm happy enough that I won't have to look at some of these anymore. Full warning, these are so random and I don't think I've talked about any of these on my channel. These, yeah, I should just get into it without explaining it too much. Speaking of random, the first book, I guess, it's a book that I'm getting rid of is the Hemochromatosis cookbook. Little known fact about me, I have hemochromatosis, which is like a blood disorder, and so I have to watch what I eat, and I thought this would be insightful because when I first got diagnosed, I had no idea what I was gonna eat. Well, this was not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting like healthy foods just by nature of it being like a diet book or like a specific dietary needs book, and it's not. It has like pasta, carbonara, like what are some other, chicken cordon bleu, chicken pot pie. I mean, there are definitely some healthier recipes in here, but I was like, wait a minute. These are just like normal recipes. There's no like insight into the hemochromatosis. I have not cooked one recipe from this book. I've had it for years. It's time to go. And it's also very just like not the cutest book ever. Which, by the way, is not a reason to have books, but that's even more of a reason for me to get rid of a book. Some other random self-help books that I am departing with. The Love Where You Live. I actually hauled this in the first video on this channel, which was my BookOutlet haul. I thought this was going to be like a fluffy self-help book, which it is. Actually, you can see how far I made it in. I did DNF this book after 7 chapters because I realized, I mean, the title is very descriptive of what this book is about, Love Where You Live. It is really like locationally based. I thought it was going to be like more about like being content with where you are in life, which to a certain extent it is, but it's really about like moving. So it felt like a little irrelevant and I just didn't get much from it. For even like a fluffy light read, I just got bored. Following self-help books is this one called Reinventing Yourself by Mario Alonso Puig. I'm pretty sure I picked this up a long time ago from like a Barnes & Noble. You can actually see again how far I got in on the book. So I read about half the book and it just wasn't helpful to me. I didn't find any of the information new or enlightening, and obviously it was a little bit boring and a bit of a drag. I'm going to be getting rid of this one as well. Another self-help book, Making Habits, Breaking Habits. Why We Do Things, Why We Don't, and How to Make Any Change Stick by Jeremy Dean. I think I started reading this a little bit and just didn't finish it. I just finished a book on like habits. I'll put it up here. I don't remember the exact name of it. I finished that book last month and I'm kind of over reading about habits. I don't think I'm gonna get much from this and I haven't touched it, so I figure it's time to go. Some, I guess like biographies, autobiographies. Yeah, I guess these are autobiographies. This one is in particular. Most Talkative by Andy Cohen. I bought this used a long time ago. I never got around to reading it. I had a very obsessive Bravo phase where I was watching like all the Real Housewives. I was watching Southern Charm, and I haven't really watched those shows in a long time, so I really don't think I'm ever gonna read this. Stories from the Front Lines of Pop Culture. I figure this is gonna be kind of outdated too, because this book was written in 2012. So it's 9 years old. I don't know if it's gonna be very relevant. Following that, speaking of Southern Charm, I am gonna be donating The Art of Southern Charm by Patricia Altschult. I was obsessed with Southern Charm. The later seasons for me, I kind of didn't really enjoy. I just didn't really find them as interesting as the beginning seasons. And this actually I had in one of my favorites on the Beauty Breakdown a couple years ago when I first bought the book and read it. I did actually really enjoy this because I love Martha Stewart. I love entertaining. I love home stuff like that. So it was really interesting getting like a Southern take on it because I love Patricia Altschult. I think she's really interesting, and you know, I guess it's like I like her character on the show, and I also just like her lifestyle in a sense. Like it's very ritzy, but southern ritzy in a way. She also shouted me out on her social media, so that kind of made my week when she did that a couple years ago. But I read the book, I get the entertaining aspect of this, and to be completely honest, there's really nothing in here that she didn't say on the show or that you can't find online. Just kind of nice to have it all in one spot. But again, I haven't touched this book since I read it the first time, which was a couple years ago, so I think I'm ready to let this one go too. Okay, some nonfiction books. Actually, I guess this first one is kind of fiction, nonfiction. I had and still kind of have an obsession with like war books because I do like nonfiction books, and World War II in particular I had a phase with. And so this book is called What If? Military Historians Imagine What Might Have Been. The cover is a little cringy for me to even show, but it's basically just showing like alternative routes history might have gone down if we had different results with, you know, different wars and different leaders and things like that. Anyways, I bought this from Goodwill. I never read it. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it, and so I'm tired of looking at this on my bookshelf. It just kind of drives me nuts. So this is another Goodwill book, also about World War II. It's called Given Up for Dead: American GIs in the Nazi Concentration Camps at Berga by Flint Whitlock. I actually did read this, man, it must have been like 6 years ago. A long time ago. I've already read it. I don't need this on my bookshelf anymore. It's not something that I was obsessed with, that I want to keep, or that I want to like lend out to other people. I'm just gonna hit myself in the face with the book. Another pile of books. All of these are, well, I guess not all of them, I should say. It is a combination of like fiction, nonfiction. Let's just go through them. The first one, another Goodwill pickup, was The Nature of Monsters by Claire Clark. I think I just saw monsters in the title and was like, ooh, I love monsters and mythology. So I bought this and I started reading it. The first couple of pages, it had like some, I think if I remember correctly, had some sexual content immediately right off the bat that I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna snap that one back closed and put it back on my bookshelf. I have not picked it up since, and I think I looked up reviews of this online. It did not have good reviews, so I am ready to depart with this, and I don't even know what this is about, to be honest. This is another book I finished, The House of Secrets by Brad Meltzer. This is actually a nonfiction book of his. It's about like some spy or CIA guy. He has like a daughter who's like, you know, kind of in the same industry. Sorry, my bangs are in my eye. Ow. Something like that. I don't remember the exact plot. I read this probably like 2 or 3 years ago, so I remember not being very impressed with it. I kind of dragged through this and finished it. I'd say I probably like Brad Meltzer for more of his nonfiction than fiction books. Did I say this is nonfiction? This is a fiction book. And so, yeah. Oh, my pile just fell over. Okay, this book actually made me really mad when I read it. This was a book outlet buy for me, The Dirty John and Other True Stories of Outlaws and Outsiders by Christopher Goffard. I thought this was going to be kind of like the podcast or the show, which I think actually was also on Bravo. This was so bad. I think this is like one of the few books in 2020 I gave a 1 star. It might have been the only book I gave a 1 star because I was so infuriated with this book. How many pages is this book? 348 pages of nonsense. And like, okay, here's the thing. I thought this book was going to be about Dirty John, like the whole book. It is not all about Dirty John. This is like broken up into chapters about like anecdotal stories that to me were so out of the blue. Like, it's not that they weren't like inspirational or interesting or nice stories, but I was like, I'm expecting to read about Dirty John, and it was like 70 pages out of 350 pages. The rest of it is about other people that like, cool, you guys have interesting stories. I got nothing against that. I just did not expect that much of this book to be about not Dirty John. And it frankly wasn't. I was like, what am I reading? I was reading the first couple chapters. I was like, so how are these people relevant to Dirty John? Like, when does the story kick in? And then I started like, by chapter 4 or 5, I was like, wait a minute. And then I started looking through the other chapters. I was like, oh shoot. Another book outlet book that I purchased, City of Devils, The Two Men Who Ruled the Underworld of Old Shanghai by Paul French. This was just boring. I started reading this and I probably got maybe like 50 pages in. It was kind of hard to follow I don't want to call it like the mafia of Shanghai, but like the underground and how they came up to be more prominent or powerful. Obviously, I didn't finish the book, so I don't exactly know what it's about. I just know I didn't like it. This is a book I actually did finish, but it is very similar to the book I just mentioned in the sense of there's a lot of people, there's a lot of like details that I felt were irrelevant, and then you have to like really concentrate to figure out what's going on in this book. This book's called The Girls of Murder City, Fame, Lust, and the Beautiful Killers Who Inspired Chicago. So it follows like 3 or 4 women who are waiting for their trials in Chicago, who are involved with murder in some way, shape, or form. And basically the kind of like underlying message of this book is how a lot of these women, except one of them did not skate by on her looks, but a lot of the other women skated by on their looks, like really played up that like innocent doll woman that was considered to be ideal during this time. It was okay. I don't even remember what I rated this on Goodreads. Meow, 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 meow. Let me see what I rated you. I gave it a 2 stars, so I obviously didn't really care for it. Last but not least, I am going to be getting rid of the Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. B.A. Paris, I know, is a very popular author. I think she actually had a new book come out this year. She's kind of like a mystery thriller type of genre, and this book was, I think I actually read this in like one day because I was like, all right, let's just like knock this baby out. It was pretty easy to read. I kind of saw the end but didn't quite see the end, so it wasn't like a big twisty turny book for me. It was interesting enough. I'm pretty sure I gave it like a 3 stars or something like that. So I'm glad I read it. I'll probably read a couple other B.A. Paris books. It's something that you could like pick up if you want an easier read, but you want to have a little bit of like, you know, woman in the window type of thriller vibes. I wasn't obsessed with the characters. I wasn't obsessed with the storyline. I wasn't obsessed with anything about this book, which is why I'm getting rid of it. So anyways, those are the books that I am going to be, I think what it's called, destashing from my book collection. This is my first one of these videos, so I'm sure I'll have more of these for my booktube in the future, but I just wanted to weed through some of the books I knew I didn't necessarily need in my collection and share them with you guys and give you guys a reason as to why I am letting them go. But yeah, if you guys like these types of videos, let me know in the comment section down below. As always, I hope you guys are happy and healthy, and don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!